This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour. All of his co-workers were gone. What could
やべえ
it
これ
mean?
ちょっと待って一回戻ってスキーベースもこれかこれでいけてるんか知らんがオーマイよいしょさあもう一回や頼むおっと G フォースが英語になってるぞまあ別にそれ
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Mouse acceleration. うわ、早い。ミスった。これでいく。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he
出たよ、
entered
こ
the
れ。
door on his left.
うい
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
うい
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
無理なんか。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been
うわ、びっ
waiting.
くりした。
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your... Oh, no, you can't... Did you just unplug the phone?
あれ
No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even
お
possible?
い、相手の。
None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth?
タイム。あ、いけてること。
You making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it.
最悪。
Had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
あれもしかしてこれいいじゃない？あ、いいもんか。
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
The alley. Murder.何それ？え？何それ？え？
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
あれ？おっと？これは？抗う？いや、抗おう。
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
すごいこれ。バグでえぐいことになってるのか。うじょ。あ、ダメや。
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
What? What? 終わりました。
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
強制的やな。おお、すげえ、普通や。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
ジャンプないんかこれ。調べよう。ダック。ニューズアイテム、スクリーンショット。ダックってしゃがむか。あ、コントロールしゃがみって。俺苦手なんよな。CSG を変えたし。
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
ここだけ色ちゃうんやけど。なんかあるんちゃう？ えゲームが落ちるのはちょっとおもろいからやめていただいて。え、嘘やろ。最初から俺、シャレだなんて。うわ。最初からや。なんで
All
や。
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
いや、もう
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
最初
Perhaps he
笑
had
うか。
simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
チェ、いけないし。
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see.
全パターンクリアするまで終われまてんですか？
Left, right.
そんな。
Okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this
俺も
way.
一回ゲーム落ちてるんですよね、これね。つって。これ何パターンあるんやろ？無理か。
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now.
427か。
The whole story
427、
completely
427。
unusable.
あれや。
How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track. Okay, from the top.
え、もうえってもう。これ。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
全パターン行くまでに何回もスタートからやらされ
When
る
Stanley...
地獄。
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely
What?
restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on.
攻略時
Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
15、16、17。え？わ、めっちゃ面白そうな1個ある。うわ、めっちゃ面白そうなのがいっぱいありますよ。いや、僕、いや、こう、なんかいっぱい入ってる。なんかいっぱい入ってる。ここ。
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here
お
before.
っと。
Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot.
お、
Why
帰ってき
not?
た。あ、で、426ってどこ？そもそも427。これ、出んのかな？ 426。 426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。426。 置いてありません。426。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
426。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
これはあ、来ません。4142。あ、426や。なんてこったや。バナコッタ出た。
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
えあ、どうも、すみませんでした。あ、切れた。Be my alien time って書いてある。違う気がしてきた。アリエンタイムやれ。
I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
ういー逆らっていく。あれあれもしかしてこれ
No, no, I'm done. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
ダメみたいです。
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought.
なんか
Wouldn't wherever
今
we
調べ
end
たら
up be our
何でしたっ
destination,
け
even if there's no story there?
ファイルいじっ
Or to
た
put
ら
it
でき
another
る
way,
っていうのがあっ
is the
て
story of
そ
no
れがもしかした
destination
ら
still a story?
どここれ
Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with
あ、
me.
帰ってきてた。
Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
おー、びっくりした。
Cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
これ
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
こんなシダ植物見て何があんのボケん 何これまあいいか。
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
あ、ここ行けるようになってる。赤ねえじゃねえかよ。また来た。
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you
ま
have
たリ
done
スター
this
ト
to
だ
us? And after we
逃
trusted
げろ
you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
あ、今234がおかしかった。
You know what, Stanley?
Eh?
I say forget the
Oh,
adventure
didn't
line.
make me
What's
talk
it
about
ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Oh.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
うわ、すごいこれ。長さちゃうけど。入んない。あえて戻る。あ、やばい。これやったかもしれん。あ、よかったよかった。
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
うわ、無理や、行かれへん。なんこれ。
Oh, hold up, what's this?
混乱エンディングつって。
The confusion ending. You're telling me
あ、ここ。
that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing.
どこや、今。
Wall.
アドベンチャー
Well,
ライン。
who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really?
あ、これ、ここか、今。
No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. Stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do happen to have a...
スタン来たよ。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
ダッ
memo.
シュ機能くれ、ダッシュ機能。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
電話かけるやつか、あっち行くか。いや、あっち行ったし電話かけに行きます。
Stanley was so bad at following directions,
待って。
it's incredible he
これ落ちれ
wasn't
る。
5 years ago.
ふぅ。
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
もしかして。あ、こんにちは、どうも。
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
あれこれもしかしてさっきフェンス出てなかった？
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy.
これはもうここ
I
行く
realize
しか
that
ないで
investing
しょ
your。trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact
電話エ
is
ンド
that the
どうせ待って
story has been about
やらしてく
nothing
れる。
but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley
うわ、めっ
walked
ちゃカー
through
ド
the
キー
red
欲しい
door.。
どこにあんのやろ、これ。いや、俺聞いてなかった、ごめん。多分赤って言ってたと思うけど。あ、
Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
しゃ。
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
お
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
あ、なるほどね。これも1しかないでしょ。
A one? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a one? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
あえて左行ってみますかね、これ。戻ってくるんか。
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on. And now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
うるさいな、どっちも。もういいや。
Heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off... Yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
BGM もしっかりしてんねんけど。
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
おかしいぞ、ここ音。いいか。石炭反応してくれ。
Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
くっそ。おい、ポータルやんけ、これ。
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it.
すごっ。
You trapped in a glass
まんま一緒
box
ポー
with
タ
no
ル。
way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired.
Oh.
I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm
すごっ。
curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Eh, めっちゃ気持ち悪い。
Oh,
あれ
it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. You're
あ、どう
forte.
え、挙動も一緒よ。
Genius.
すげえ。
No, actually, you know what?
Oh,
I
eh?
think that's plenty.
やめろって
I
や
really
らせろ
don't
よ。
care much to see you stumble through any more of these games. And I highly doubt you're...
ほら、やった。やべえ。うわ、急にホラーテイストになるな。夜やから叫べへんと思ってるやろ。俺は叫ぶぞ。ハリボテすぎる扉が。なんか、マイクラの音じゃないか、これ。あ、427戻ってきた。俺の527にしてほしかったな。なんてね。俺映ってないけど。グラが汚すぎる。え？何も反応せえ。マジかよ。おっ！
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait. Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like?
What?
There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall. When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not jump from the carbon left easy. Motion will cause death.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
あれ、ほんまにエンドこれ。お
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the
あ
oven.、
進まれ。
All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
おいべっ。
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley.
お招きに
I'm
来ない
trying to
で
get you to see something.
進
Come
ません。
inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
あ、進んだ。はい、行きませんと。
Sorry,
Oh,
but you're in my story now.
怖っ。
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
よいしょ。Good morning, employee. 400じゃなくて427 just to press you on your keyboard. You.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature
こ
of
こ
his
ここの壁がす
existence.
ごい。お Z。いや、僕はいい押すよ。そう。
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
やばいやろ。
And so he began to fantasize about his own job.
よし、ここ
First,
で
he
見てね。
imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
誰やねん、ザボー
So
って。
he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through
来た。
either.
2つのドア。
At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
5。
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
はい。
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
ポチッ
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
あ、出た
And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
プリーズダイエ
And I tried.
あワンチャン1時間でぴったしエンドになるっていう、そういう神ゲー仕様でござったり、しないんでござる。しないんでござる。また
All
こ
of
こ
his
でござる。
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
.待って、何これインプット。インプットを受け取ってください。どういうこと初めてあのパソコン動いたのに。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he'd coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
はい、夢じゃないと。はい、行きます。
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
終わったいや、砂糖や。
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
は
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she
車の
knew.
ナンバープレート一緒や、これ。
Everyone knows what
さっ
crazy
きも言っ
people
てただろう
look
と。
like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be
多分
normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
何エンディングやろ、これ。コンフューズエンディングなのかな、そのまま。おい、まったの、マジで最初からやめてくれ。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
待って。うわ、ついてへん。待って。こうして、こうしたときについてんな。なんでだ、ついてたの。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
開きません。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
なんか増えてる。エグゼキュティブバスルー。なんかあるんちゃう？なんかあるんちゃうこれ。ん？あ、見えるけど、こうかな。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
あ、なんて言ってた今、やば。2845。あべ、間違ったって。
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
俺さっきここ入ったぞ。めっちゃモニターあるとこやって。もういいって。このゲームロードあるのかな。
Descending deeper into the building.
Time. Begin the game again.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free.
これや。これや。アチーブメントって何？アチーブメント？何のアチーブメント？わからんけど。ああ、セーブある。どうしよう。どうしよう。うわ。いやいや。
To think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
よかった。ぐちゃーって落とせんかった。
As the machine whirred into motion, Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise. He reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
なるほどね、じゃないよ。しないよ、これ、多分。The world.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Office layout. This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the accent to the two doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development through the core layout remains all change. The two doors ね。これはファイリングキャビネット。これはオフィスコンピューターズ。ドゥドゥディ。これ番号か。いちいち 音ちゃうし。凝りすぎ。めっちゃ左。めっちゃ左行きたいから左行こう。メンテナンスルームね。なんもなかった。おい、てか、あれ、シダ植物どうなってん？ごめん、こんなとこ知らん。ウォーゾーンって。なんや。ウォーゾーン？あれ今コットやってんの？コットのやつウォーゾーンやったっけ？from are you a rock? ナレーターいいね。電話のやつ？なんかこれ。どうなのこれ。つまんねえ。15秒か動き出し。おい、俺の知らんやつがいっぱいあるぜ。なに待って。ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って。なんや。何があった今。違う。絶対違う。アドルフさん関係ない。なに怖い。ちょっと待って。は？怖すぎやしませんかね今の。どうなってんの？ちょっとちょっと待って。Only one instance of the game can be running at one time. ちょっと待って。何来いって。こんなオチでいいんか。こんなオチでいいんですかね。一人見てくれてる人がいるのか僕はちょっとわかんないんですけど。いらっしゃったらコメントしていただきたい。ちょっとこれどうなってるんですかねつって。これ、バグった？なんか、ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って。戻れんて。は？嘘やろ。じゃあここにマウスカーソル出てくるのおかしいって。ちょっと待って。ツイッター開こう。あかん、開いたら。やめよう。ちょっと。はい、戻ってきました。さあ。マジですかこれ。一回セーブしてみる？一回こうやってメニューしてみる？ロードゲームしてみる？戻った。よかった。怖っ。そんなことある？ってぐらい怖かったよ。エグジットがある。エグジット。はい、帰ろう。怖かった。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one
ごめん、
another.
見えへん。
How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
ところせ。
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
Can you see?
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time choose.
もっとえぐいって。シャレならん音しとる。え？そうやろ？終わりましたこれもしかして。終わりましたね。これ終わりましたよ。大丈夫ですかこれ。いや、お疲れ様でした。また多分明日はできるかな。定期的にやらせていただきたいと思います。